Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the series Wednesday. It's time to recall. Let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The new episode begins with Thing breaking into the morgue. He unlocks the door of the room in which the old man's body has been kept, the man who got killed by the monster in the previous episode. Thing unlocks the door and Wednesday walks into the room to inspect the dead body. In the meantime, the sheriff and the doctor walk into the same room, and then Wednesday is unable to get out of there in time. She just goes on to hide in the freezer. The doctor takes the sheriff to the dead body and shows him how 2 fingers of the victim's foot have been cut off after he was killed. When sheriff arrives, the doctor goes on to open the compartment where Wednesday is hiding. She stays still and he thinks it is a dead body. He then decides to take care of it the next day and leaves the room. Thing then helps her get out of there and she makes her way back to her room. Wednesday pieces her evidence together on a board in her room, realizing that each victim has had one specific body part removed. Enid comes into the room while Wednesday has put all the pictures of the victims on a board. She freaks out at the sight and goes on to ask her why on earth she has put up these weird photos on the wall. Wednesday then tells her the whole thing and hands her the photos, asking her to take a look at it. The moment she looks at the horrible photos, Enid faints. Wednesday now understands one thing. She realizes that every dead body is missing a specific part and someone is trying to collect those different body parts. She is, however, unable to understand why the person or monster is doing this. The next day, when she is in the class, she notices Xavier. In the previous episode, we also saw how Xavier has claw marks on his neck, and while he's in class, he has tried his best to conceal those marks, but the marks are still pretty visible. They catch Wednesday's attention. She now suspects that Xavier is surely up to something. When the class is over, she goes on to follow him wherever he goes, and he ends up going to the house he was in the other day. This house is located in a secluded area near the forest, and Wednesday now sees him going inside. She waits for him, and when he finally comes outside and leaves, she decides to go inside to check what is in there. She takes Thing's help to unlock the door and gets inside. Once inside, she goes on to see many paintings of the same monster she saw in the forest. She picks up one of the paintings and keeps it with her. When she is about to leave outside, Xavier returns and he is not at all happy to see her there. He asks her what on earth she is doing out there, and she starts making excuses which he does not seem to believe at all. She, however, then asks him what he is doing out there, and he reveals that he has gotten this space from Weems and he plans on making it an art gallery. When she says that she would like to see his art gallery, he refuses. Now he, however, does not think that Wednesday went inside and that she has already seen everything. Xavier goes on to ask her out for the prom night, and she says yes to it. He looks delighted, and both of them go their separate ways after that. When she comes back, she goes on to tell her roommate that she and Xavier are going to dance together at the party, and Enid gets excited. She goes on to suggest that they go shopping in the city. Wednesday agrees, and both of them make their way to the market, but just as they are about to enter a shop, Wednesday changes her mind and goes on to tell Enid to go on, adding that she will join her back. Enid goes inside the shop, and when Wednesday is standing outside the shop, she sees a black dress which catches her attention for a moment because it is, of course, a gothic dress, but she still decides to let it go and goes to see the sheriff. She goes on to give the man the painting, but he says that they cannot do anything just on the basis of a mere painting. Wednesday proposes that they work together, but Galpin wants concrete evidence first. When she is on her way back from the sheriff's office, she runs into Tyler, who is happy to see her, and tells her that he has started liking her. She tells him that she does not like him that way, but he still asks her out to the upcoming dance, which she has to refuse because she's going with Xavier. Meanwhile, Enid and Lucas decide to help each other out and plan to go to the dance together, with Enid using him to make Ajax jealous. In the meantime, Wednesday moves her evidence board into Eugene's beekeeping quarters. The geek instantly spots the drawing of the creature. In one of Xavier's pictures, the monster is seen in a spiraling cave. Eugene knows the exact spot. He goes on to tell her that he has been doing research on these things for a while now, and this cave could very much belong to a deadly beer. Both of them decide to go there. They head over and discover the monster's leftovers, bones and carcasses, and even a set of handcuffs and chains. Wednesday also happens to find a claw, swiping that all-important proof. She right away understands that the creature resides around here somewhere. To provide a DNA match, she heads back to Xavier's cottage, or the so-called art gallery. As she looks around, she pulls a bloodied rag from his bin. Xavier returns while she is still there and asks her what she is doing there. She confronts him this time. She tells him that he has a bloodied rag, he has those claw marks on his neck, so he could very much be the serial killer. She also tells him that he has paintings of that very monster that has been wreaking havoc, killing people and cutting off their body parts. He tells her that he makes paintings of the monster because it comes in his dreams. When she again asks him to explain the claw marks, he is adamant that the scratch marks came from his painting since he can bring his artwork to life. Wednesday is surprised that he, too, can't control his powers. She tells him that she still does not believe his stories, adding that she won't go to the dance with him. He then tells her to leave. She makes her way to the sheriff with the proofs and tells her to run the DNA tests. Sheriff then sends out those proofs to the laboratory. On the other hand, Thing learns that Wednesday is not going to the dance with Xavier anymore. The Hand right away grabs a paper and pen, writes a letter, and sends it to Tyler, who is seen smiling as he reads the letter. In the meantime, Wednesday runs into Eugene, who seems visibly upset. Wednesday asks him what got him down, and he goes on to tell her that he asked Enid to go to the dance with him, but she refused. Wednesday tells Eugene that she is not going to the dance with anyone either, and Eugene thinks that she might be hinting at him to ask her out, and he does that. Wednesday, of course, refuses, adding that she is not going to go to the dance and tells him not to go either. She tells him that they have to go to the cave again and try and find more proof. All the students make their way to the dance party that night. We see that Xavier has decided to go with Bianca, and Wednesday is ready to go to the cave with Eugene. Thing's tinkering has put a pause on this by writing that loving invitation to Tyler earlier. Tyler, of course, shows up at her doorstep and she is bewildered to see him there all dressed up. He tells her about the letter and says he cannot believe she wrote that lovely letter. He adds that for a moment he thought he was being pranked because that letter did not sound like Wednesday at all. She frantically rushes to get changed. Thing has also bought her the dress she idolized and she throws the gothic outfit on. She is really happy to see that dress. Tyler and Wednesday head to the dance in her new dress. She is looking really beautiful. And when she shows up at the party, everyone looks at her as she enters the hall. This is when we see Weems, who accidentally ends up telling Thornhill that the boy she wanted to come to the dance in her student age ended up coming with Wednesday's mother, and Weems was left alone. This revelation stressed more on the fact that Weems does not at all like Wednesday's mother. This is when Wednesday starts her dance, and this is a weird dance. Everyone keeps looking at her as she just goes nuts, but she enjoys herself. This is when Eugene sees her there, and it really upsets him to no end. He decides to go to the stakeout alone. Wednesday is the most beautiful girl at the party. Xavier looks beside himself with envy. So does Ajax over Enid and her awkward dance partner Lucas. Xavier decides to spoil Wednesday's fun and explains why he hates Tyler so much. It turns out that at last year's Outreach Day, Tyler and his friends assaulted Xavier and destroyed his mural. Wednesday confronts her date about this accusation, and he admits that it's the truth, but he regrets his actions. Wednesday isn't put off by this news though. Seeing Tyler's remorse, they go back out onto the dance floor and she busts out some moves. On the other hand, Xavier, who himself is in a bad mood after seeing Wednesday with Tyler, ends up upsetting Bianca. This is when the townies arrive to set up a prank. They are Lucas's friends. This prank has been done many times before, but it is nonetheless still as iconic. They cause blood to rain down from the sprinklers, destroying everybody's outfits in fun. Wednesday looks around in the cascading blood but then remarks that it tastes like paint. The students slip and slide, fleeing the scene. Enid cries in front of Lucas, realizing she was just a pawn in his plan, but Ajax comes to her defense. Amidst all this chaos, Wednesday has another vision. This time, she goes on to see that Eugene is in trouble in front of that cave. We see Eugene sitting there in front of the cave. He sees another man going inside the cave and setting all the stuff in the cave on fire to get rid of all the proof. The man, however, sees Eugene there and moves towards him. The boy starts running. Wednesday, on the other hand, rushes to his aid, but it's too late. Eugene tries his best to run away and the man disappears. When Eugene is just about to take a sigh of relief, he is then chased by the monster. The monster mauls Eugene, presumably to death. With Wednesday finding her naive friend coated in blood on the leafy floor, and her dorm mom Thornhill gets there and goes on to ask Wednesday if Eugene is dead. And with that, the episode comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get more recap video of Wednesday.